There comes a moment in life when you realize you weren't the problem. You were the clarity in their confusion. You were the loyalty in their chaos. You were the light they couldn't bear to look at, so they pretended you were ordinary. They held you with careless hands, not because you lacked value, but because their vision was clouded by ego, by wounds, by blindness they refused to confront. And instead of rising to meet your worth, they dragged you through the dirt, hoping you'd forget what you were made of. But a diamond does not lose its brilliance because it was buried. It doesn't surrender its essence because it wasn't recognized. It waits, it endures, and then it shines. This is not a story of victimhood. This is a story of revelation, of awakening, of the quiet, steady force of someone who refused to be reduced by ignorance. You were the diamond in their dirt. And now, they must live with the weight of what they mishandled. Misplaced value reveals misaligned vision. When you reflect on the times you gave everything to someone who failed to appreciate it, you realize something profound. Their inability to recognize your worth was never a reflection of your inadequacy, but of their distorted perspective. People who are emotionally or spiritually blind often have trouble understanding what is truly valuable. And when they look at you, they don't see the shining brilliance that others can. They don't see the commitment, the integrity, or the purity you bring into the world. Instead, they are caught in their own haze, so deep in their personal struggles and insecurities that they mistake your value for something less than what it truly is. It's almost as if you were an unfamiliar treasure lying in the dirt of their own distorted world, a world built on false beliefs and limiting mindsets. The dirt that surrounded them clouded their ability to see the diamond right in front of them. And yet, this is not an unusual story. It happens to so many of us. We give everything, our time, our love, our energy, our loyalty, only to find that the person we gave it to never saw us for what we were. Instead of cherishing us, they treated us like something less valuable, something easily replaceable. We've all heard the saying, you can't teach someone to see your worth if they don't already recognize it. And this is the painful truth. When they fail to recognize your worth, it's because they've been taught to value the wrong things, to place importance on fleeting desires or shallow achievements. Their vision is blurred by what society tells them to chase: power, status, and superficiality. And they miss the real treasures that walk among them. They fail to see that what you offer isn't just another surface level thing, but something that goes far deeper than appearances. Your depth, your character, and your soul were always meant to be admired, not used. And yet, the truth remains, you were too much for them to handle. Not because you were excessive, but because they didn't know how to receive the purity you offered. A diamond has no choice but to remain what it is, even if those around it don't understand its value. It doesn't change itself to fit into the dirt it's surrounded by. It stands firm in its brilliance, regardless of how much mud is thrown at it. You too held your ground. Even when you were treated as something less, you continued to shine. But the pain comes when you realize that this brilliance wasn't recognized by the very person you thought would appreciate it the most. Lack of recognition doesn't diminish who you are. It only shows that the person who failed to see your worth wasn't able to see themselves clearly either. They couldn't value you because they couldn't value themselves. Their inability to perceive what was in front of them wasn't a sign of your lack, but a reflection of their internal blindness. When someone fails to value you, it often says more about their limitations than about anything you've done. It shows that they're unable to connect with anything that isn't on their limited level of understanding. It reveals their narrow view of the world, their narrow view of love, and their inability to appreciate anything that isn't shiny on the surface or easy to understand. This is where the healing process begins. To understand that their inability to see your worth wasn't your fault. It wasn't a personal failure on your part. You didn't fall short of something. You simply existed in a world where their vision couldn't see the full depth of who you were. And this is the tragedy. Not that you were dismissed, but that they never took the time to understand you for who you truly were. Their emotional blindness meant that you were always more than they could ever comprehend. But this also reveals something profound about you. Your value is not based on how others see you, but on what you know to be true about yourself. It doesn't matter if they didn't see your worth or treat you accordingly. What matters is that you learn to see it in yourself, to recognize that you are the diamond, not because they say so, but because you know it to be true. Your strength lies in your ability to stand firm in your value, even when others fail to see it. And that is the true test. Not how they treat you, but how you treat yourself when the world doesn't recognize your brilliance. If you were placed in the hands of someone who didn't understand your worth, you weren't meant to stay there. You were meant to move beyond that person, beyond that moment, to a place where your light will be seen and appreciated for all that it is. The dirt was never meant to be your final resting place. It was only a temporary veil, one that covered up the beauty you were always meant to show the world. So let this be the turning point, the recognition of the fact that their failure to see your value wasn't your fault. It wasn't about you being any less than what you were. You were the diamond in their dirt. Their blindness just didn't allow them to recognize it. And now the most important thing you can do is move forward with the knowledge that your brilliance is undeniable, even if they never understood it. True worth is not measured by their treatment of you. In life, there will always be moments when you feel invisible, dismissed, or underestimated. You may have poured your heart into someone only to find they never reciprocated with the same depth of respect or love. But here's a crucial truth you need to internalize. Your value is not defined by how others choose to treat you. It's not dictated by their lack of recognition or their failure to appreciate your gifts. Your worth remains constant no matter how they fail to see it. The painful truth is that many people are only capable of understanding what is immediately in front of them, what they are conditioned to value. When you stand in front of someone who has limited emotional awareness or a shallow worldview, they might not be able to comprehend the richness and depth you bring into the relationship. This is not a reflection of your deficiencies, but a reflection of their limitation. Your worth has never been tied to how they treat you. It is intrinsic, woven into the fabric of who you are. A diamond remains a diamond regardless of whether it's on a pedestal or buried in the dirt. You see, the world has a funny way of teaching us the lessons we need to learn, even through hardship and misalignment. When someone fails to treat you with the respect, loyalty, and appreciation you deserve, it is not a judgment of your character. It's a sign that they simply couldn't see you clearly. The mistake many of us make in these situations is assuming that someone else's failure to appreciate us equates to a failure of our own. We start to internalize their neglect, thinking there must be something wrong with us, something lacking. But this couldn't be further from the truth. No amount of mistreatment can strip you of your inherent value. They may not have seen the depth of your heart or the beauty in your soul, but that doesn't diminish it in any way. Your true value is not based on how others see you or treat you. It is rooted in something far more profound, far more immutable. It's the essence of who you are. Your integrity, your kindness, your ability to love deeply, and your resilience to rise after every fall. These qualities cannot be taken from you. Even when people fail to notice them, they remain intact, waiting to be recognized by the right eyes at the right time. It is easy to feel that you have to earn your worth, especially when you've given so much of yourself to someone who failed to appreciate it, but you are not a commodity to be earned. You are not a prize that can be won through sacrifice or by meeting someone else's expectations. Your worth is not negotiable. It is not based on how much you give or how much you endure. You are worthy simply because you exist. The people who fail to treat you with the respect you deserve often have their own struggles that blind them to the treasures standing right in front of them. Their failure to appreciate you says more about their emotional state and ability to see clearly than it does about your value. These are people who may not know how to value anything beyond the surface, who may have been conditioned to think that the most valuable things are the ones that can be seen, touched, or quantified. But the truth is, real value is found in the unseen, in the intangible qualities that don't always make sense to the casual observer. This is a lesson in self-worth, learning that no matter how others treat you, you are still whole, still valuable, and still deserving of respect and love. When you internalize this, it becomes impossible for anyone's disregard or mistreatment to affect your sense of self. Instead of measuring your worth against the way they saw you, you learn to measure it against the truth of who you are. You are not here to be someone's validation or to prove your worth to others. Your value is something you carry within you, and it doesn't depend on how they choose to treat you. It's also important to remember that how someone treats you often reveals their own internal struggles, their own baggage. If they fail to see your value, it may be because they couldn't even see their own. When a person doesn't value themselves, they struggle to recognize the worth in others. Their inability to see the brilliance in you reflects their inability to see it in themselves. This isn't a reflection of you, but of their limitation. Your worth remains untouched by their inability to recognize it. One of the most empowering realizations is that you don't have to convince anyone of your value. The right people, the ones who are capable of seeing you for who you truly are, will appreciate you without question. You are worthy of respect and love because you are authentic, not because you've done anything to prove it. The treatment you receive from others is not a measure of how good or bad you are. It is simply a reflection of where they are in their own journey. Those who are meant to see your worth will come into your life when the time is right. Until then, you must hold steadfast to the truth that your value is unshakable, regardless of their treatment. When you can embrace this truth, you begin to live with a sense of peace and confidence that no one can take from you. The opinions and actions of others lose their power to define you. You are no longer dependent on their recognition to feel whole. And in that space, you begin to attract the people who will see you clearly, who will treat you with the respect and love you deserve. Your true worth is not determined by how they treat you. It's determined by the recognition that you are, and always have been, valuable beyond measure. Being undervalued was not rejection, it was redirection. At some point, you've likely encountered the painful reality of being undervalued by someone you trusted. You gave your heart, your energy, and your time to a person who either didn't notice, didn't care, or simply couldn't see what they had in front of them. The feeling of rejection in those moments can be overwhelming. It can leave you questioning your worth, doubting your ability to connect, and wondering why you weren't good enough. But what if this wasn't a rejection at all? What if it was simply redirect? Being undervalued by someone doesn't mean you are unworthy. It means that person was not capable of recognizing your value. And that's not a reflection of who you are, it's a reflection of where they were in their own life and journey. When someone doesn't appreciate the depth, kindness, and loyalty you offer, it doesn't diminish what you have to give. It simply shows that they weren't the right person to receive it. You were never the problem. Their inability to value you isn't an indictment of your character or your worth. It's a sign that the universe is redirecting you toward the people and experiences that will recognize your true value. You've likely found yourself in situations where you thought you had invested everything into a relationship only to watch it unravel or fade away, leaving you with feelings of confusion and sadness. But here's a crucial point to understand. Sometimes the universe removes certain people from our lives not as a punishment, but as a form of protection. When someone doesn't see your value, it's not a reflection of your inadequacy. It's an indication that this person wasn't meant to be part of your story. Instead of rejection, it's a redirection, a sign that something greater, something more aligned with your true self is on the horizon. Often we become so attached to a person or a situation that we fail to recognize the signs around us. We think that because we invested our time and energy into something, we are entitled to the outcome we desire. However, life doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's necessary to let go of what we think we want so that we can make room for something better. You may have believed that this particular relationship or connection was your destiny, only to find that it wasn't. But that doesn't mean you've lost anything. It simply means that what's waiting for you is far more meaningful, more fulfilling, and more aligned with who you truly are. In those moments when you feel rejected or unappreciated, it's important to remember that rejection is often a form of redirection. It's not a closed door. It's a door that was never meant to open for you. It's a shift in perspective that forces you to move away from what was holding you back and towards something more suited to your growth and potential. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows that not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some are stepping stones, brief encounters that teach us something valuable, but are not meant to be permanent fixtures in our lives. When you find yourself being undervalued, it's time to acknowledge that the lesson has been learned and it's time to move forward. The redirection is not about settling for less or accepting less than you deserve. It's about understanding that something better awaits. You are not meant to stay in a situation where you are overlooked or undervalued. Your time, your energy, and your love are valuable, and they should be reciprocated by those who recognize and honor them. The universe is simply guiding you toward the people and experiences that will not only appreciate you, but will encourage you to grow into the fullest version of yourself. Letting go of someone who didn't value you isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes immense courage to step away from something or someone that no longer serves your growth. You are not giving up. You are making space for what is meant to come. By releasing what no longer aligns with your values and your potential, you open yourself up to the possibility of deeper, more authentic connections. You are choosing to invest in yourself, and in the process, you are allowing life to bring you what you truly deserve. It's important to reframe your perception of undervaluation. Instead of seeing it as a failure or a rejection of who you are, view it as an opportunity for growth. You are being redirected away from something that wasn't meant to be and towards something that will truly honor the person you are becoming. The pain you feel in these moments isn't a sign that you've been cast aside. It's a sign that you're being guided towards something that aligns more closely with your soul's purpose. Remember, redirection isn't about waiting passively for something better. It's about actively trusting that something better is coming. It's about shifting your focus from the person or situation that couldn't see your worth and focusing on the future, on the limitless possibilities ahead. The people who truly value you will see you for who you are without hesitation. They won't make you fight for their attention or love. They will recognize your worth the moment they encounter you, and they will cherish it. So when you find yourself undervalued, instead of sinking into despair or questioning your worth, take a step back. Recognize that this is not rejection, it's redirection. Trust in the process and believe that the universe is guiding you toward a future where your true value will be seen, appreciated, and celebrated. Your journey isn't defined by the people who couldn't see your worth. It's defined by your ability to keep moving forward, embracing the redirection, and creating the life that aligns with who you are meant to be. Their neglect will echo as their regret. There's a profound truth that many people fail to recognize when they choose to overlook, neglect, or dismiss someone who offers them love, loyalty, and dedication. The way they treat you today is not something that will simply fade into the past. It is something that will follow them, echoing in their minds, their hearts, and their lives as a lingering regret. And while you may walk away from the pain of neglect, they will carry the weight of their decisions, the knowledge that they let something valuable slip through their fingers. At the moment when you're being neglected or treated with indifference, it can feel as though you've been erased from their life. You might wonder why they didn't see the depth of your care, your commitment, or your worth. You might try to understand why they chose to look the other way, dismissing your value as if it was insignificant. But as time moves forward, you begin to realize something powerful. Their neglect of you is not a final judgment of who you are. It is a chapter that will haunt them in ways they cannot yet understand. When people take you for granted, when they fail to appreciate your presence or the love you give, they often believe that their actions are temporary. They assume they can treat you poorly, take your loyalty for granted, and then move on without consequence. But here's the reality. The consequences of their neglect will unfold long after they've dismissed you. It may not be immediate, it may not be obvious, but the echo of their actions will eventually resurface in ways that will make them realize what they've lost. And when that realization hits, it will feel like a weight pressing down on their chest, a regret that will stay with them no matter how much time passes. This regret isn't just a fleeting feeling, it's a deep, gnawing realization that they allowed something rare and irreplaceable to slip away. They'll find themselves looking back, remembering the times they could have treated you better, the times they could have shown more appreciation, the times they could have valued the connection you shared. The regret won't just be a thought. It will be a constant companion, reminding them of their failure to recognize what they had while they had it. And here's the thing, it's not your burden to carry. When someone neglects you, it's easy to internalize their behavior, to blame yourself or wonder what you did wrong. But the truth is, their neglect is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inability to see it. People who fail to see the value in the loyalty and love you offer are often too caught up in their own insecurities or distractions to appreciate what they have in front of them. Their inability to value you is a flaw in them, not in you. And while they may move forward unaffected in the moment, their neglect will come back to haunt them as time passes. Imagine for a moment how this will unfold for them. They'll go on with their lives, perhaps finding new relationships, new distractions, new ways to fill the void. But in the quiet moments, when they are left with their thoughts, the truth will settle in. They will remember you, the person they took for granted, and they will feel the weight of what they lost. It will be a silent ache that lingers, a regret that never truly leaves them. They may try to move on, but deep down, they will know they failed to recognize something precious when it was in their grasp. The worst part of this regret is that it will never fully go away. It will linger in the background of their life, shaping the way they view their future relationships and choices. The neglect they showed you will become a lesson they can never undo, a lesson that will haunt them whenever they find themselves alone with their thoughts. The person who once had your love will never be able to erase the feeling of having let it go. But here's where the power lies. You do not need to be the one to make them regret their actions. Their regret will come on its own. You do not have to chase them, beg for validation, or seek an apology. Their neglect will be their responsibility to bear, and when the time comes, they will understand the cost of their actions. It's not your job to teach them a lesson or to make them realize what they lost. The lesson is embedded in the regret they will carry. Your role now is to move forward, to heal, and to live in the knowledge that you are worth more than the neglect they chose to show you. Your strength lies not in seeking revenge, but in finding peace in the fact that you will rise above their neglect. You are not defined by their failure to see your worth. In fact, the very fact that you are able to let go and move on, despite their treatment, is a testament to your resilience and your understanding of your true value. Their neglect is a temporary wound, but your healing will be a permanent victory. In the end, you don't need their validation, their recognition, or their apology. What you need is to recognize that their neglect will come back to them as regret, a regret that will echo through the rest of their lives. And while you heal and grow, they will live with the knowledge that they lost someone who was more than they could ever understand. This is the price they'll pay, no matter how long it takes for them to realize it. The power of moving on, healing yourself after their betrayal. There is no pain quite like the pain of betrayal. It's a deep, searing wound that seems to affect every aspect of your being. Betrayal comes in many forms: emotional, physical, or even through broken trust. When someone you trusted, someone you loved, turns their back on you or violates your faith in them, it can feel as though the very ground beneath you has been ripped away. You may feel as though you've lost a part of yourself in the process. But the truth is, betrayal is not the end of your story. It's simply the beginning of your healing journey. When you are betrayed, it's easy to get trapped in a cycle of anger, sadness, and regret. You may replay the events over and over in your mind, questioning every moment, wondering what you could have done differently. But there's a powerful truth that you must come to terms with. The only person who can heal you is you. No amount of revenge, no apology, no action from the person who hurt you can take away the pain or heal the wound. Healing is a choice, a decision that comes from within you. The first step in healing is acknowledging the pain. It's okay to feel hurt, angry, or confused after being betrayed. These emotions are natural reactions to the violation of trust and love. But the key is not to allow yourself to get stuck in these emotions. You must give yourself permission to feel what you're feeling, but you must also make the decision to move beyond them. Holding on to anger or resentment will only weigh you down, preventing you from moving forward and healing. Letting go is not about forgiving them for what they did. It's about freeing yourself from the grip their actions have on your heart. A common mistake people make after betrayal is thinking that the healing process is linear. We expect it to happen quickly, or we think that one day we'll simply wake up and feel better. But healing is not a one-time event. It's a process that requires patience, self-compassion, and time. There will be days when you feel strong and empowered, and then there will be days when the pain resurfaces. That's okay. Healing doesn't happen in a straight line. It's more like a wave, sometimes coming in strong, sometimes pulling back. The important thing is that you continue to move forward, even on the days when it feels difficult. One of the most crucial aspects of healing after betrayal is reclaiming your sense of self-worth. Betrayal can cause you to question your own value. You may wonder how you could have been so blind or why you weren't enough for the person who hurt you. But here's the reality. Their betrayal is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their inability to honor or respect the relationship you shared. Their actions are about them, not you. You are not less valuable because of their inability to recognize your worth. It's important to understand that moving on doesn't mean forgetting. You can choose to move forward without erasing the lessons that betrayal has taught you. The pain you've experienced can serve as a powerful tool for growth. You've learned what it feels like to be let down, and now you can learn how to protect yourself from future harm. Betrayal teaches you boundaries, self-respect, and resilience. It teaches you that your value is not dependent on anyone else's approval or treatment. You have the power to determine how you will be treated, and you have the power to walk away from anything or anyone that doesn't respect you. As you move on, you must also learn to let go of the need for closure from the person who betrayed you. Closure is not something they can give you, it's something you must give yourself. No amount of explanation or apology will take away the hurt they caused. Only you can find the closure you need by accepting what happened and choosing to heal. This may mean letting go of any hope that the person will ever acknowledge their wrongdoing or make amends. It may mean forgiving them, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. In the process of healing, you must also focus on rebuilding your trust in yourself and in others. Betrayal can make it difficult to trust again, but it's important to remember that not everyone will hurt you the way this person did. There are people out there who will honor your trust and love you in a way that is deserving of you. But before you can open your heart to others, you must first rebuild trust in yourself. You must trust your own judgment, your ability to recognize what is healthy, and your capacity to move on from toxic situations. Another essential part of healing is self-care. During this time, it's vital that you focus on taking care of yourself, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Invest in your well-being, whether that means getting more rest, exercising, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or seeking support from friends and loved ones. Taking care of yourself isn't just about distraction. It's about honoring yourself and showing that you value your own happiness and peace. Finally, as you heal, you will come to a powerful realization. You are stronger because of this experience. Betrayal will change you, but it doesn't define you. You are more resilient, more self-aware, and more empowered to create the life you deserve. Healing from betrayal is not about erasing the past. It's about taking the lessons and using them to build a future that is stronger and healthier. The betrayal was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of your transformation.